The A-10 Warthog earned its nickname Ancient because it first flew with the U.S. Air Force back in 1977. Many people look at its shape and slow speed and wonder why the military still uses it when newer jets exist today. Yet in early 2026, during Operation Epic Fury, this same plane solved a tough problem the U.S. Navy found hard. Let me explain this step by step so it makes sense no matter how old you are or what you already know about planes. Start with the place itself and imagine a very narrow strip of water between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula at its tightest spot. That tightest spot measures only about 21 miles across, and every day roughly 20% of all the world's oil travels through it. This oil moves in giant tankers, and when something blocks or scares ships away from that route, the price of fuel rises in many countries. Groceries cost more because trucks and ships move food using that fuel, and factories slow down while families feel it in higher bills at home. That narrow waterway matters to everyday life far beyond the Middle East, and it connects the world's energy supply to the people who need it. Iran sits right next to this important passage, and its leaders understood they could not win a direct fight against the huge American Navy. American carriers, destroyers, and cruisers carry advanced radars, long-range missiles, and guns meant for fighting large warships or incoming missiles from far away. So Iran chose a different approach called asymmetric warfare, and instead of building expensive ships to match the US, it built hundreds of small speedboats. These boats are usually 15 to 20 meters long, and they can travel faster than 50 knots, which feels like 57 miles per hour at sea. Some carry machine guns or rockets, and some hide explosives and try to ram into larger ships when they get close enough to strike. Many look like ordinary fishing boats until the last moment, and that makes them very hard to spot early among normal sea traffic nearby. The idea is simple but effective, and they send many of these small boats at the same time from several different directions all at once. This creates what is called a swarm, and a big destroyer has powerful weapons, but can only focus on so many fast targets at once. Think of it like a big elephant trying to swat dozens of bees buzzing around its head from every side simultaneously in a busy area. The elephant is strong, but the bees are small, fast, and very hard to hit before one of them manages to sting successfully and escape. Iran did not need to sink a U.S. carrier, and it only needed to make the strait feel too risky for commercial shipping companies to use. That effectively closed the passage for ordinary commerce, even if the water technically stayed open for military warships to transit through safely without issue. When Operation Epic Fury started on February 28, 2026, the United States and its partners struck many Iranian targets hard and fast together. In the first weeks, they destroyed more than 100 Iranian naval vessels, including frigates and drone carriers that formed Iran's conventional fleet quickly. By most normal measures, that level of destruction should have ended the sea threat. But the strait did not reopen quickly after that happened. The small speedboats and disguised drone boats kept operating from hidden spots along the coast, and mines were still being dropped into shipping lanes quietly. These low-cost, hard-to-track threats continued to frighten commercial ships away from the route, even after the larger naval vessels were destroyed completely. U.S. Navy destroyers tried to protect the area, and in at least one case near the USS Abraham Lincoln, a destroyer used its deck gun. It fired at an approaching Iranian vessel but had trouble hitting the fast, small target at close range in the crowded water around it. A helicopter had to help finish the job with missiles, and this was not because the sailors lacked skill or courage at all during the fight. It happened because the destroyer's main weapons were built for different kinds of fights, not for chasing nimble little boats appearing suddenly nearby. Fast fighter jets face their own problem from the other direction, and they fly so quickly that the pilot has very little time available. A pilot has only moments to look down, decide which boat is a real threat, and line up a proper attack run accurately. Then the plane is already zoomed past the area before the attack can be completed, and the moment is gone almost instantly at speed. Fast jets also use fuel very quickly when flying low and slow, and they cannot stay overhead for the long periods this mission requires. What the situation needed was something that could fly low and slow enough to watch carefully for hours over the congested waterway below. It also needed to tell a fishing boat from a threat boat and strike precisely when needed without making costly mistakes in identification. It needed to survive possible gunfire from the shore while doing that job, and without costing too much money per hour of flight time. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, often called the Warthog, was designed in the 1970s exactly for that kind of patient, close, careful work. Its original job was to support soldiers on the ground by flying low, spotting targets, and destroying them in difficult battlefield conditions. It cruises at about 300 knots, which is slow for a jet, and that slowness is not a flaw in this particular situation. It gives the pilot time to look carefully, think clearly, and act accurately in a messy environment full of civilian boats below. Picture driving on a busy highway, and if you go very fast, you might miss a small hazard on the road until too late. If you go slower, you see details clearly and react in time before the hazard becomes a serious problem for you or others. The A-10 does the slower version over water, and it can circle or loiter in the same area for hours on one fuel tank. It can even refuel in the air from a tanker aircraft to stay on station even longer when the mission requires it to continue. That steady, patient presence stops swarm boats from waiting for a safe moment when no aircraft is watching the water below them carefully. The heart of its firepower is the GAU-8 Avenger cannon, and this 7-barrel gun fires 30mm rounds at up to 3,900 per minute. Against a small speedboat with thin sides and no heavy armor, even a short burst from that gun stops the threat immediately and completely. The plane also carries Maverick missiles and laser-guided rockets for larger or more distant targets that the cannon alone cannot effectively reach. One aircraft brings the right tool for different sizes of problem without having to fly home to swap weapons between each engagement. The A-10 carries thick protection too, and its cockpit sits inside a titanium armor shell weighing about 1,200 pounds around the pilot. Fuel tanks seal themselves if hit by bullets, so a puncture does not cause a big fire or instant dangerous fuel loss. Control systems have backups so the pilot can keep flying and land safely even after taking damage from ground fire during low passes. Flying low near coasts where small arms or short-range missiles might be present requires exactly that level of built-in toughness and redundancy. Newer stealth jets are excellent at sneaking past advanced defenses from far away, but they are not built to absorb hits while circling. Doing that slow circling job with an expensive modern jet would also cost far more per hour and wear the aircraft out faster. None of this use in the Strait was a last-minute idea, and the Air Force and Navy had practiced this exact kind of mission for years. A-10s trained with Navy ships in the Gulf of Oman to hunt simulated fast boats under realistic conditions that matched the current threat. They worked alongside mine-clearing vessels to protect them from swarm threats approaching from multiple directions during those preparatory exercises before the conflict started. On March 19, 2026, Air Force General Dan Caine, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told reporters at the Pentagon something important. He confirmed that the A-10 Warthog was actively hunting and destroying fast-attack watercraft in the Strait of Hormuz along the southern flank. AH-64 Apache helicopters joined the effort for certain drone threats as well, and together they helped reduce the number of active threats significantly. The timing was notable because the Air Force had wanted to retire the remaining A-10s from service before these events took place. Congress stepped in with the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2026 and required that at least 103 planes stay in service. Events in the Strait showed why keeping some of these older planes made practical sense for specific jobs that newer aircraft cannot fill. A fast jet firing an expensive missile at a cheap speedboat every single time would not be sustainable over many weeks of patrols. The A-10's cannon fires rounds that cost far less while doing the same job effectively against the small, unarmored boats Iran was using. For sustained, lower-intensity work in this specific environment, the older plane turned out to be the more sensible and affordable operational choice. This does not mean the A-10 is perfect for every future fight, and against a strong enemy with modern air defenses it would struggle. Flying slow and low against advanced surface-to-air missile systems would be very dangerous without significant support from other assets protecting it overhead. The Air Force is right to plan for newer systems that can handle high-threat wars against peer adversaries with sophisticated integrated defenses. But the Strait of Hormuz in 2026 was not that kind of environment after the opening strikes removed many advanced Iranian defense systems. What remained were the exact conditions the Warthog handles well in low-altitude visual identification, needed persistent presence, and small but fast, lightly protected targets. The bigger idea to remember is that good tools must match the specific job directly in front of them at that moment in time. Speed, stealth, and high price do not automatically make something better for every single task a military might need to perform successfully. Sometimes patient observation, durability, and affordable firepower win the day more effectively than the newest and most expensive technology available anywhere. The A-10 was built around a powerful gun and the ability to support forces while absorbing punishment close to the action below. Those same traits that made it effective against tanks on land also worked against speedboats on water when the situation demanded exactly that. In a busy, narrow strait where threats hide among normal sea life and appear suddenly, the old plane delivered something others simply could not. People around the world benefit when shipping lanes stay open and oil flows at reasonable cost to the economies that depend on it daily. The A-10's role in reducing threats in the Strait of Hormuz reminds us that the right capability at the right time wins. Old does not always mean useless, and sometimes it means well matched to a real-world problem that newer designs were never asked to solve. The Warthog showed again that thoughtful design for a specific purpose keeps delivering value long after many people expected the aircraft to retire quietly.